Every player that scored for Syracuse in last year's battle is gone, so new talent coming in for the Orange, and they produced today.
We got Finn Thompson. He's a smooth operator inside behind the back. Then you got him making a few fakes here. And then we have Michael Leo, electrifying Dodger. He's finding his shot today, both inside and outside. The freshmen are stepping up for Cuse. You love to see it.
Leo with 2 goals. Finn Thompson with 2 as well, combining today for 5 points. So they're producing for Syracuse. On the other side, Russell Melendez has really stepped up today for Johns Hopkins offensively. And Tim Marcille, been a brick wall.
A lot of stars are shining in this game. Marcille might be the brightest, but look out for these Syracuse freshmen to put a button on this.
Johns Hopkins wins the first face-off here out of the break, and that's a big one because it leads to a possession for the Blue Jays, who just scored, courtesy of Matt Collison, now have a chance to take the lead. And by the way, that was Matt Naruski with the face-off win. Guy that's 53% in terms of career face-off win percentage. Missed most of the early portion of this year with an injury. Now he's back, so the Blue Jays have 3 guys they can go to for face-offs.
Some of the most, I think it's the most penalties I've seen in a game, and the most face-off guys used in a game.
Yeah, that's 3 now for Johns Hopkins. Tyler Dunn, Logan Callahan, and Matt Naruski. Previously 10 for 33 against the Orange in 2 games back in 2019 and 2020.
Little invert here from Hopkins, trying to get a short stick matchup behind the goal.
That's Ryan Evans. Said back-to-back multi-point games. Now with Melendez, he's had the hot hand today.
And Syracuse is refusing to switch on him, off him on those picks, right? They're getting through, they're making sure the pole's always on him.
Angeles uses a screen. Back to Evans. Beats Rice, gets to the cage, and bounces it in!
What a move from Evans.
Ryan Evans, one-on-one, he wins and puts Johns Hopkins in front.
Hopkins is parking their offensive middies behind the cage to try to get an advantage dodging. This is a great little 1-2 move on Carter Rice. Gets underneath, Wilmark a little out of position, and Evans buries it.
Channeling his grandpa's powers. Joe Cowan, former 3-time national champion and Johns Hopkins winner of the Enners Award back in 1969. His grandson balling out 60 years later.
Milliman's angry too. I noticed that Aviles got away with a little pop there at the end. Sometimes you call it, sometimes you don't. So
yeah,
Cuse got away with one there.
The Blue Jays win another face-off. We're starting to see the kind of effects of those wins if you're a Syracuse fan, because the Blue Jays are producing offensively. It's because, well, they have the ball, right?
Exactly. And Syracuse has done a good job on the face-off throughout the game, but not every face-off is created equally, and the fourth quarter ones really matter, and you see it right here, especially in a tight game. Syracuse needs the ball back now to win, and Hopkins is keeping hold of it. Again,
Naruski with the face-off win. So Blue Jays have it. They're content to bleed a little clock here. Mentioned it before, under Pete Milliman at Johns Hopkins, the Blue Jays just 1-16 when trailing at the half, and they did earlier. Collison buries his shoulder, draws 2, gives off for Angeles.
That was good help there.
He attracts a lot of attention, doesn't he?
He has to. He's a future star.
Melendez thinking about it, decides to pass. Under 20 seconds on the shot clock. And here's the Marquette transfer, ready to go to work. Shot clock winding down. Fed in front, Degnan stopped.
Big save by Mark. Might have got help from the pipe there, I'm not sure, but definitely made contact with Mark too. So way to hold your pipe there and make that save. Syracuse has to clear.
Spallina flings it to the far side of the field. And Mazzone grabs it for Johns Hopkins. What happened there on the clear?
Good pressure by Hopkins. You never want to run by the box because there's pressure that can come from the box, from the substitution game, and you're not sure who's able to cover you or who's not, who might be on the sideline, who's coming on. So tough for Syracuse there to bring the ball towards the box, and they pay the price.
Well, Johns Hopkins follows it up with a mistake of its own. Offsides infraction against the Blue Jays, and Coach Milliman hates it.
Syracuse has been bailed out a couple times on those, but you'll take what you can get here.
Talked about the magic number 11 before. Johns Hopkins 10-2 since the start of the 2022 season. Not there quite yet, but still in the lead and 1 goal away from that 11.
Syracuse should slow this down here. Get a good look. Don't rush.
Invert behind and the cross of Griffin Cook. Former Syracuse attacker turned midfielder. Back up to the point. 30 seconds on the shot clock for the Orange. Back behind with Spallina. Now Kirst, you love this if you're Gary Gait. To Burt Whistle, righty shot, stopped. Tim Marcille with another save, give him 21 on the day.
And Jackson Burtwistle's been quiet today, but he's one of Syracuse's best shooters. He had the cleanest look of the day, and Marcille stared it down and made a big stop. No rebound, Hopkins ball.
6 shots today for Jackson Burtwistle, all saved by Marcille. And the Blue Jays spend a timeout, holding on to a 10-9 lead with under 2 minutes to go. Where have we seen this before, Evan?
Cardiac Cuse. I mean, Syracuse is always in close games. Are they going to pull this out? They need another stop from the defense. Maybe Mark steps up. But then when you get it on offense, take your time, get the look that you want. They got it there. That was a great save. I like what they did there. The short stick matchup and then getting Burtwistle open.
Johns Hopkins talking it over in the huddle, as is Dave Petramala with the Syracuse defense. What do you think they're talking about?
I think Petramala's probably keying in on the big guys, right? Melendez, do not let him get the short stick matchup. If he does, make sure we're going early. Don't let Collison and Degnan get to their left hands. The simple things. If you do the simple things, you should come out okay. And on the Hopkins end, they're trying to free those guys up. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a short stick invert or we saw some sort of pick play to get one of those 3 big players open.
Johns Hopkins back in the Dome for the first time since 2019. Trying to hold on to that number 10 ranking and claim the W in the 61st matchup between the Cuse and the Blue Jays. And this is big for Coach Petramala. We talked about his ties with Johns Hopkins, the all-time winningest coach with the program, now trying to stifle that Blue Jays offense at a critical point in the game.
The good thing is he knows John Crawley well, so he might have some tricks up his sleeves. The master and the apprentice, so to speak. But I think the defenses look great. I think Dave Petramala has done a great job here. I mean, 10 goals, we said that's the number. Let's see if they can hold him here. But the man down, the adjustments, it's all been really, really strong. So credit to him, regardless of how the game turns out.
Both teams with experience in close games. Just a week or so ago, Johns Hopkins beat number 13 St. Joe's 15-14, tight battle at Homewood. And, well, Syracuse coming off an overtime loss to Duke, 14-13. Some might say there were some questionable decisions made towards the end of that game.
And this would just be so massive for Syracuse as a win because you've been in those games with those top-ranked teams, and here's another one. Let's get one. Let's get over the hill and really start to believe in what we have here.
The Orange have Hofstra, St. Bonaventure, and Hobart on deck, trying to snap an 8-game losing streak against ranked opponents and take down their bitter rival. Alexo misses an over-the-head check. Angeles keeps it. Free run to Cage, and he zips it off the pipe.
That was risky from the Syracuse defense. The shot clock's a friend. You have Sam Alexo trying to take the ball away near midfield. That's going to open up the field, but pipe bails him out again.
The Orange gamble, but win. Thompson takes a big check from Collison. No call.
What a handle from Finn Thompson. Believe it or not, that might be the play of the day.
Those two actually played in high school together as well, so no stranger to that collision. Syracuse calls a timeout and now sets up perhaps its biggest offensive possession of the season. That's lacrosse at its finest right there. Bodies flying, checks being thrown, hips put into one another. Awesome, and here's another look at Jacob Angelis' run to goal.
Yeah, Alexo was caught being really aggressive. You don't want Angelis here. And then, again, we talked about subbing near the box. There's a lot of bodies there. I'm not sure why Syracuse keeps going back there. Thompson pays the price for handling the ball, but what a play by him.
That contact kind of looked like it was on the back. Do you think Collison maybe got away with one there?
It's such a bang-bang play. It's almost impossible to call in real time. And the contact to the back is almost caused by Thompson because he's turning to make that one-hand catch. So I honestly don't hate that no call.
Well, we mentioned that Duke game from last weekend, close to the very end, and there were some opportunities for the Orange to win that game. So Charles Balsamo scored the winner for Duke, but Jackson Birtwistle had a chance to give Syracuse the win in that overtime period. Instead, it was a save on the right side, led to a chance on the left, and the Blue Devils punched it in.
I think Coach March has to take the reins a little bit more here. He gave the Syracuse players a lot of freedom in that Duke game, and they might just not be ready for that. I mean, you're the coach, you feel it out. So I'd like him to have a nice set, drawn-up play. Maybe get Thompson involved because he's been the star of the second half. Let's see what he draws up, but you have a lot of options. A lot of guys are feeling it for Syracuse, so there's really not a bad one out there.
That's the name, Finn Thompson, known as a guy that comes alive in the big moments. Don't believe me? Think back to last week. Scored the game-tying goal in regulation to send the game to overtime against Duke. Maybe he steps up here for Coach Petramala and the Cuse. 6-on-6 lacrosse, minute 15 left in the fourth quarter. Buckle in. Leo holds, he scored 2 goals today. Gives off to a fellow lefty in Hiltz. The Orange with plenty of time to work with. Who do you want touching the ball here, Evan?
It's tough. Leo has a short stick matchup. Uh-oh, giveaway there.
Kurst tried to find Thompson in the middle, taken away by Jaronsky. Now the Blue Jays try to clear, and tick, tick, tick.
Shot clock's a non-factor here, so Syracuse is gonna have to pressure.
Open run, Patrick Deans, he scores!
And there's the Hopkins transition. We talked about it all day. They couldn't find the goal when running the ball. They finally do there. To put an exclamation point, tie a bow on this game, it looks like. We'll see if Syracuse can spark some magic, but you think that's the nail in the coffin for the Blue Jays.
A pole goal is the dagger, second of the season for Patrick Deans. Perhaps none bigger than that one.
The pole's always crease cranked. A little crow hop 4 feet away from Mark. I'm sure he didn't appreciate that, but hey, it went in, so can't knock it.
How about that from Deans? Junior long stick midi, missed the entire 2022 season with injury. First game against Syracuse, makes the biggest play. And Hawley throws some more salt in the Syracuse wound. The nephew of Coach Petramala with a big ground ball pickup, and now the Blue Jays can just waste away the clock.
Tough way to end the game away again for Syracuse. I thought they battled really hard. Hopkins, they just went to the right players at the right times, and their guys stepped up. Credit to them.
In a battle between the 2 winningest programs in college lacrosse history, Johns Hopkins stands alone at number 1, and they reign supreme today inside the Dome. The Blue Jays top the Orange 11-9 in a Saturday showdown.